welcome back to Reason with Rona. Thank you so much for tuning in again with us this another week. And today I have one of my very good friends here with me to hold a reason, and he is none other than Mr. Daniel Knight.
Yes, nice to meet you guys.
Yes, thank you so much for joining, Daniel. And guys, remember, if you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please feel free to do so. Also, like this video, share it, and comment down below because we want to hear your views on the things that we discuss here tonight. Right, Daniel?
Of course, yes. We're excited. We will be in the comments. So, yes.
Yes, we want to hear your views on what we discuss. So, Daniel, we've reasoned a number of times. You know, you're one of those friends that I have that we can hold a deep reason on different topics. You know, and I think there are many things that you're passionate about, you know, mental health, you know, just young men striving. And there is this other thing that you're very passionate about, which is, you know, helping persons to really overcome their inferiority complex. Now, if I know anything about passion, passion stems from something, somewhere, some event, some observation. So can you tell us a little bit about why you're so passionate about this?
All right then. Yes, I can. It's tell you a little bit about it because it's not a little bit, and I'm just gauging you for that.
Right. Take all
Yes.
the time you need.
All right then. For me, when I was growing up,
Mhm,
I struggled with feelings of inferiority.
mhm.
And it was because of the many comments that I would get. First of all, the first one, me too black,
Wow.
my nose too big.
Mm,
And I've heard that from I was in primary school, straight up to high school, and even after that. And I've seen where many of my friends experience the same things. And it just never sit well with me. But what I had to do, and I'm grateful to God, I have to big up God for that, that God would place the right people in my life. Persons with the same shade, the same shape of nose, even bigger, some smaller. But these people to really help me to really see myself for who I am. Because when you don't have the right voices, right? And all you hear is negativity, that is the evil that you know. So what you're going to do is stick to the evil that you know, and that evil right there in itself is not true. You feel what I'm saying? And so when you've now experienced persons loving on you and telling you like, yo, you are a beautiful man, you're a handsome man, you don't need to change anything about yourself. It at first, and I'm not going to lie, you don't believe it because you are so your belief, they're so entrenched in the negative, and so you kind of want to shut these people off. You feel like they're lying to you, uh, and that's the next thing too. You know, when you struggle with feelings of inferiority, if anybody tell you that you're beautiful or you're worth it, you start to say they're a liar, and so you want to withdraw yourself from them,
mhm.
right? And I'm here to tell anybody that if you're going through this, it's not a lie. You are beautiful. You're fearfully and wonderfully made. And so back to the point, when you have these people speaking into your life,
Mhm.
right, it helps, and it helps you to really come to appreciate yourself for who you are, and then you really start to see you for who you are. You get what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And it's just crazy that we live in a world, especially that we live in Jamaica, where majority of us are my shade, and yet we are still telling each other that we're too black, we're too fat, we're too skinny, we nose too big, we teeth too this, we eye too whatever. You get what I'm saying? And it needs to stop. It needs to stop. Who like who give you the right to dictate and to like to approve that my beauty? Who give you that right? It's what God says, and what God says, I believe. And so my charge is to tell anybody that do not believe what man say if they are telling you that you are not this, because that's not what God is saying. Check the word. Yes.
Yes, definitely. I like that, Daniel, because to be honest, if we look into our own lives and we look even in our circles, we'll realize that many of the people around us have this inferiority complex. And it often manifests in itself in the insecurities that we have. And you will realize that we tend to want to meet this ideal standard. And because we can't, many of us feel like we fall short. Because I can personally relate to this, being a woman of a darker complexion as well. I remember when I was 14, actually, I was walking to high school. I didn't realize this at the time. I used to walk with my head held down, because I didn't want anybody to look at me and to tell me, oh, you're black and you're ugly and you're this and the regular things that they tell you. And I
Yeah.
remember walking down the street and a gentleman, he saw me and he said to me, little girl, hold up your head. And I was so startled, like I immediately looked up and I didn't even realize that I was walking with my head down. And from that day, I decided to be intentional about it because I find that if you allow persons to shape what your identity is, you will forever be chasing a standard. You will either be too fat. If you lose weight, you're too skinny. If you're black, you're too black. If you're bleach, you're too brown and brown. So it's like we are chasing after ideals that are unrealistic and we're failing to embrace who we are, who God made us to be. And you know what I think, Danielle? I think that this is a direct attack of the enemy against us as children of God. Because you see, when we don't know who we are, when we don't understand whose we are and why we were created, we lose focus on the things that God has planned for us, right? So to somebody who is going through a current season of, I don't want to say an identity crisis, somebody who is struggling right now, Daniel, to understand and to see the beauty in themselves, what are some practical steps that they can take? Because, it's easier said than done, right? So move from that space where when they look in the mirror at what they see, they are just displeased, to seeing themselves, accepting who they are, accepting the compliments they receive as truth, and redirecting all of those negative that have been spoken into their lives, some of them from childhood.
All right then. Before I answer that question, I'd like to add this too. You said there was a point, I think it was grade 10, when um I had an aunt, she used to lighten her skin. She still does. And what I would do was that while I used to hear when I was growing up, I used to hear some persons would say, "Oh, you're handsome. What a handsome black boy." And but I heard the most of the compliment, or most of the comments I hear, I heard they were you're too black. And so when I was in grade 10, I used to hide and use my aunt's bleaching cream.
Mm-hmm.
I used to hide and do it. And the thing is, in my head, I was saying that I don't want to get too brown. So when I do, I would apply it every 2 days or every other day. Until I noticed that when I start looking in the mirror, I start look ugly. Me start look ugly. And I'm like, no. Me no make for brown. Me make for black. The shade here are the shade where me stay. Because if I just have a faint increase or faint decrease in the melanin that is showing, and me look like a zombie. Imagine me having all light gone. And I just stopped right there. But to anybody who is going through this, I wouldn't even say identity crisis, but struggling with feelings of inferiority, the first thing I would want you to do is to say, what adapt this approach of and so. So they come to you and they say, you're fatty, and so, you're blacky, and so, them, you, whatever, you're skinny, and so, you're shorty, you're tally, you need them knocky, whatever. Yeah, them biggie, your face bumpy, and so, and just keep applying that to your life, because unless that habit that you have, or if it's a case where you're eating too much and you're getting too fat, or you're not eating enough and you're losing weight, unless it is affecting your health, then you don't need to change it. Unless you want to change it, you change it. Don't let anybody dictate to you that you should lose weight or you should gain weight or you should go and do a BBL or you should go and do a nose job because they want to see you like that. You get what I'm saying? Do anything you want to do to yourself for you. And I don't really believe in body modification like that because you're created beautifully. Just accept it the way it is. Accept yourself. So when they say whatever, it's and so you I love it. You don't need to change it. I love it. Yes.
Yeah, and that's good because you know what, you take away the power. And I think that's what doing that does. Because we really have to stop caring so much about what other people think about us, right? Because most of the times people open their mouth towards us to talk about some attribute that we have. It's usually negative and it usually does nothing to edify or uplift us. If you have somebody around you and every time they're speaking to you, it's only to put you down, to make you feel more insecure in yourself, to make you feel unstable, to make you feel inadequate or unworthy, then maybe you also need to reassess the circle of people that you're around, right? Because I can tell you that over the years, having changed my circle, having met other people who see me and accept and love me for who I am, I was able to bloom, to thrive. But I know if I'd stayed in some circles that I was before, like when I was in high school, then I don't even know what type of person I'd be today. So sometimes we have
Yeah.
to remove ourselves from some toxic circles because some of our circles are toxic. If you
Yeah.
are around your friends and the only, like whenever you come in a group of friends, somebody has to say something or make some joke about how you look. Say, no, you just buy another pair of shoes or you know, that's just to put you down to make you lose confidence immediately. Then
Yeah.
you have to watch that space. Watch how people are
Exactly.
putting you down and remove yourself from it.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I totally agree. I totally agree. You really have to have people around you that speak life into you. And I've seen where, especially, and I always say it, I say that it's since I have come to Christ that I have experienced the greatest love in two forms, in the sense that the greatest earthly love I've experienced from friends is since I've come to Christ, and these people have spoken life into my life, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's the love also that I've experienced from Abba Father. It's like the greatest love of all. And when you come to really realize who you are and who you say you are, and just that he loves you the way you are. And that's it, that's the nail, that's the arm on it. What is saying go? Hit the nail on the head.
Yes.
Yes, that's the nail, right? When you really understand the love of God and the way God loves you and the way that God just love you for what you have. It's you having a bigger nose or you having a flatter chest or whatever. You have a rounder face, a bigger forehead or whatever. That does not take away from the love that God has for you. And the next thing too is that it don't take away from the love that you are going to experience from your partner, your friends, and those people around you. Like some persons would believe that, oh, and I've heard many stories when they're saying that, oh, I'd never thought that I would get a person like this or a person like that. You get what I'm saying? But you persons love you the way you are, and and people like to be with people that are confident. So even if a million persons are saying otherwise, and you're the only person to stand up and say, no, I am this, that will pull me. That can pull anybody. So that's something you have to do to speak life into yourself. While others are speaking life into you, if you're finding it hard to believe, ask God to help you to see what He says you are and why these people are saying these things to you, like the good things, because you can ask God too. So God, these persons are saying to me that okay, I am beautiful, I am this. I don't see it. Can you help me to see it? Can you help me to see myself the way you see me? Can you help me to appreciate myself the way that you love me? Or yeah,
Yeah, definitely. I think Jesus, God, really makes all the difference in this journey, because I
yeah,
tell you, it's easy to say, but having gone through the process, I know that it is a process, right? I know that
yeah,
you don't move from being insecure to being confident overnight, but it is something that you definitely have to be intentional about. You have to decide that you don't want to live the way that you're living. You don't want to get up every day and not like the you that you see, the you that God created. Because God said that before you were formed in your mother's womb, He knitted you together. He numbered the very hair on your head. God
yes,
created you. And when God created you, God looked at you and said, you were good, right? People might look at you and tell you that you're not good, but God says you are good. And whose report will we believe? We will believe the report of the Lord. So
that's
if
it.
God says you are good, you are good. So you need to speak that into your spirit until you start believing it. And we have this
Yeah.
popular saying in Jamaica, fake it until you make it. Fake it until you make it. If you have to go in front of your mirror and
Mm.
that thing that you think you dislike most about yourself, you look at it and you said, you know what, God? Thank you. And you start appreciating it, you start liking it, and then you realize that you start seeing yourself as God sees you and not how other people sees you. Like you can actually look at yourself through God's lenses and not
Y-
this I don't even know what to call it, that people have created for you. That
The
unrealistic
version, yeah,
version of
unrealistic,
yourself
yeah.
that exists. So it's something that you have to be intentional about, and it will take time. You're not just going to get up and be confident, but I can tell you that if you make the small steps daily, limit the negative interactions that you have. If there is something that you want to change, that you are insecure about personally, and you can change it, then you work on that, as Daniel said, for you. So if you are self-conscious about your weight, like you feel like you're overweight or you're underweight, and you really believe what persons are saying because that is how you feel about it personally, there are things that you can do. But in this life we need confidence, because there are people out there that the enemy has, especially as believers, that are seeking to just pull you down so that you can't even focus on God, that you can't even be in a space where you can worship, because you're in church and you're worrying, oh, I wonder what they're thinking about me. Nobody's seeing you, but you are that insecure in yourself that you are worrying what people are thinking. So it's a whole process to get from being or feeling inferior to being who you truly are, you know?
And yes, 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 agree. And with that, a simple step that you can also take to is this story that I heard where this woman, she went to church.
Mm-hmm.
This woman, she went to church and she wanted to leave because of what was said about her whenever she go to church and the experiences that she had with members there. And she said it to the pastor today, and the pastor said to her that I'm going to give you a glass of water. And you walk around the church with a glass of water 7 times, right? But don't take your eye off the glass. Though everything may be happening around you, don't take your eyes off the glass of water. And when you're finished, let me know, right? And she did it. And about lap three, she 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 started to get into her mind, and she was saying, I wonder if anybody sees that what I'm doing. But then she remembered that the pastor said, don't look back, just focus on what you're doing. Right? And she made it to the whole 7 lap. And because she did not look back, right? She never realized that the entire church, everybody at regular intervals, they were staring at her because they're saying, uh, whatever she do, she's crazy, she's whatever. And she finished, and when she went to the pastor, he said the same thing to her. Because you focused on one thing, you were able to complete it, right? And I use that to say, you see, wait, stop comparing yourself to everybody else around you. Comparison is a thief. Self-comparison is a thief, because when you compare yourself to others, you are not giving yourself an opportunity to really be you. You're giving yourself an unrealistic opportunity to be somebody else. 7 billion people in the world right now, almost 8 billion, and you are choosing to be somebody else when you have so many, and it's crazy, and I always say this: we have so many personalities. Which one of your personalities you want to be today? Be this one today, be that one tomorrow. You have so many personalities, but ensure that it's one of Daniel. Ensure that it's one of Rona. You get what I'm saying? You have many personalities. However you're feeling today, be them, but try not to be. Today, Daniel will not be Rona. Anytime in life, Daniel will not be Rona. Daniel will be Daniel, one of Daniel's personality. Once they are good, he will be himself. So don't compare yourself with anybody.
That's funny. When you said multiple personality, you have to be careful, Daniel, because, you don't want them to say, you have a mental illness going on right there.
You have a mental illness. That's the next thing too. That's the next, that's true. That's true. But I don't mean it like that, but when I say it like that, for clarity, I mean like, okay, then you're expressing yourself. If it's a case where you're feeling very social today, you go out and you be very social. And if today and if tomorrow you say, okay, I want to be reserved, I want to be very analytical, do that. Right? Yes. If you feel like wearing makeup, if it helps you today, you wear it today. If you don't want to wear it, don't wear it. But don't let you live in makeup and then you have the acne bumps because you're trying to live up to somebody else's standard. You know what I'm saying? That's what I mean. That's what I meant.
Yes, Daniel, I know. But the thing that I find very interesting is, and I'm glad you touched on that, like sometimes we're so focused on being like somebody else that we don't realize our own beautiful. I always say that, only I could be me, right? Only God has created me. If He has created me as Rona, why would I want to be Daniel?
Exactly.
Right? Because we are all on a journey, and it's good to admire people, to see, what they're doing, and to want to, I don't want to say to want to emulate them. It's good to admire people, but you should not betray who you are in order to be somebody else. So for example, if you know that you are an excellent, say, driver, don't try to be a farmer, right? Don't try to go into the space where you don't belong. You have no interest in farming, but you're only going into farming because, Daniel farming and Daniel seems to be good at
And he's
farming.
successful, yeah.
Stick to what God has given you, because God has given us each a gift. God has given us each a calling, and we're all here for a purpose, because you remember that scripture that says that we are all parts of one body, right? Where, and that's the body of Christ. So some people are the eyes, some people are the fingernails, some people are the fingers, some people are the toes, some people are the legs. But if everybody is trying to be an eyeball, a body can't make up of only eyeballs. No. So nothing that we do for God is insignificant. Nothing that God has deposited in us to do is insignificant. And when we are not true to ourselves, and when we try to be somebody else, then we are missing out on the purpose that God has for us, that only we can accomplish as we are. Not to say that somebody else can't do something similar, because you know that many people write books. But the book that you would write, Daniel, is different from a book that I would write, and it would reach different people, because God knows what He wants to accomplish through you and through me. So we have to be open, knowing that our identity as believers lies in Christ, and that we are who God says we are. And then we just take it from there. We cannot allow the world to define us, to define what is beauty, to define what is good about us, to define what is true, or everything, or character, or being is defined by God. We have the Bible. The Bible is our guide. So if there's anything that you're struggling with, I'm sure many people in the Bible struggled. The answers are in the page, or in the pages of the Bible.
Yes. And also, I would like to add to this point. when I was saying that we should surround ourselves with persons that speak life into us. I There was a point in my life where I was getting I was getting used to like my friends telling me that, okay, then you are this, you are that. And I would believe their words, but if I was to say it to myself, I did not believe. And
Mm.
it's just crazy. And what that showed, what that revealed is that I was caught up in, while I was still caught up in someone else's identity of me. While it was good, I did not love me or appreciate me for me. And it's as I got older, especially in the last 2 years, I've realized that really and truly I have to love love me for me. So while my friends are pouring good things into me, I have to see me for me. And though they may tell me that, okay, then Daniel, you are this, and you're a good person, I'm going to assess. I said to myself, am I a good person? What I said thank you. I said thank you to them, right? And then within, I'm like, am I a good person? What are you doing good? You get what I'm saying? So you can conform with yourself that, okay, then I have been doing this. You are beautiful. What makes you beautiful? You get up and I look in the mirror, and it's crazy that many times I just go to the mirror and I smile, and that smile turn into a laugh because I'm smiling because I'm like, it's so beautiful. And then I said that to the mirror, and then me start laughing, and the mirror start laughing at me. Yeah, and that just goes to show that I've come to love me for me, and I see my beauty. I see what God sees in me. You know what I'm saying? And I want that for everybody too. So don't just believe the positive that people say. Apply it to your life and try to see it too. Don't just take it as it is. See it. Yes, yes, yes,
Yes, that's very profound. I like that. You smile and then the person in the mirror is smiling back, and then both of you just have a good laugh. And that's
yes,
good, that you can see that, there is beauty inside of you. You can see that, you have a lovely smile. You can see that, your smile meets your eyes. You can look and say, oh, I'm so handsome today. Like sometimes you put in your clothes and say, no, I'm nice. And,
yes.
you
I mean,
walk
yes.
confidently and
And
not let
my
anybody break you down. Yes, go ahead.
yes, and my little phrase of me always a saying, and I don't know how. And every time I look at myself, I'm like, how did you? I'm like, I look at myself in the mirror, and I'm smiling now because I'm imagining or I'm remembering myself saying to myself in the mirror that, how did you allow people to say that you're ugly? How did you? Like,
And look how you're nice.
look how my eyes. Oh, no, you're not. Definitely not. You are far from it, very far from it. I'm yet to see ugly, ugly. I'm yet to see it. Wherever it is, it's not here. It's not among
Good,
me.
good.
Yes. I'm, and
Say
it's
that
not just
again.
about looks too. It's also about being brilliant. It's also being like a good friend. It also comes back to being good in school and these things. Like people, I never went to a traditional high school, and persons would, and I've seen it where persons would, and I've heard it where persons would speak to persons from the more traditional high school as though they will get the better jobs, and we're not going to do this from the regular or the comprehensive high schools, and you can't believe that. You can't believe what people say. It's not the institution that you go to, but what you want. So yeah. And that's a whole next topic, because that also contributed to some inferiority that I had, but that never lasted long. Because from I was growing up, I believed in myself. Like from ever since from the idea me knee, me know me always believe in myself. I've never believed that I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't become this, I can't become that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's just when it came on to my complexion and I taking pictures. And it's funny, this morning I was speaking to a friend of mine and I was telling her that when I was in high school, I took an ID picture, grade 7, and the teacher, when they were never we never had a good quality camera. And when the ID pictures came back, the only thing that they saw on it was my teeth, and my eyes. And it so happened that a teacher, when she saw my ID tissue, she started to call me Spot. She said the only thing she see is a black spot over there. I can laugh about it now. The only thing she saw was a black spot over there. And when I would talk, she would say, "When you see anything over there, I only see teeth," to students. And that was
Wow.
my name going through school. Spot. Yeah, so yeah, that contributed to that level of inferiority. But this spot is a beautiful spot. You know? You don't say you have beauty spot somewhere. This is a whole lump of beauty spot. Come on now.
Come on, like
Yes, all
you
the
know,
whole clay, the whole dust, everything from the inception of the dust, turn into the clay, turn into this, turn into me. God's child Daniel Knight is a
eh,
beautiful black spot. Yes.
eh, like listen, like that story was just out of this world. Like, sometimes we really have to be conscious about the things that we say and we do to others because they matter. It might have seemed, like something insignificant, for that person to say, but it
Mm-hmm.
followed you throughout school. And, persons would have adopted that, because at that time that person was an adult. And that was very unprofessional, I must say. And I apologize that you had to go through that. But I am happy about how you have turned it around. Because I tell you, there are things in this life that have come to break us down as individuals. And we can't let it. We can't let it because purpose is on your life, Daniel, and purpose is on all of us, which is why we go through some of the things that we go through. And it's crazy because I'm sure like if we should have a group or a forum that we should sit and talk about these things and the hurtful things that people have said to us that we still carry from childhood, we'd be very surprised, and we'd even be surprised at the people or the authority figures from whom these things came from, to help to build up that insecurity in us instead of uplifting and edifying us. They really start to tear us down. So I'm encouraging everybody that is listening to be careful with your words. If you can't be kind, keep silent. It's a simple mantra, I think. If you can't be kind, keep silent. And that is not to say that you shouldn't uh, give criticisms or help persons to become better, but what is your motive? If your motive is not to help the person improve, if your motive is just to tear down, then maybe it would be better if you kept your mouth silent so that we
Yes.
can stop ruining the next generation,
Yes.
because this is ridiculous. Like, we have seen it. It's almost like, in my mind's view, that there's always something that seeks to divide us, whether it's the traditional versus non-traditional high school, whether it's the Jamaican universities versus the US universities, or the ghetto areas versus the uptown areas,
And the
Vibes
last
Classes
names.
versus Mavado, PNP versus JLP. There is always something to divide us. Always. From I've seen it growing up, there has always been something to divide us. Even as a church, we are divided based on the different denominations. But we have to look to the source. You see, at the source, if all of us realize that our true identity and our worth lied in Jesus, then half of what we're going on about, we'll see that these are just material things. And in the end, they don't matter. Nothing that we have makes us more superior than anybody. All is leveled at the foot of the cross. So some of us, we really
Mm-hmm.
need to be a little bit more humble and loving and accepting. And if we see a brother not in a position that they ought to be, then we help them. Be kind, be helpful, build each other up instead of tearing each other down.
Yeah. And that, to add to that too, that thing where I've when it comes on to helping people, I love helping people, right? And there's a point in my life when I never used to accept help from people because I feel like it was all it's it it new it, it it's it it's like a scorekeeping thing. You
Mm-hmm.
help me, and now everybody find out that you did this for me. And if everybody don't find out that you did it for me, if we have a conversation or if we don't see eye to eye on something, you're gonna tell me about everything that you have done for me. And when I assess those things too, I kind of see it as you not being like the initial intent wasn't kind. Because if you're doing something for somebody, it should never be a case where it come across like you're scorekeeping, because now it's like you kind of erased everything good, even if you meant good in the moment that you did it, but the fact that you can come and bring it like you're rubbing it back into their faces, then it kind of it takes away from it. So we also have to be careful of that. If you do something to somebody and you and them, you guys are not on the best terms, you don't need to tell everybody or to go back to the person and lay roll it all out about what you've done for them, because that too can help people to kind of have reservations about really seeking help. It's many things that we that want to do good, we have to be cautious when we're like doing, because we don't want to really offend people. Yeah.
Okay, that's true. Well, Daniel, we have definitely unpacked a lot. And as we wrap up for today, if you could say anything to the viewers, what would you leave with them as we close today? What would you leave with them?
All right then. There are many things that I want to say to you guys, and Rona, I'm very upset because this is short. This is not
Oh,
enough time, but we need to do an extension. But when they request, so guys, leave it in the comment and tell her when and the next topic that you want us to talk about, right? But if I could leave anything with anybody, it's it's something that I realized the last year when I was doing my interview with the paper, right? For my graduation, right? I graduated on the day that I lost my father, my father's memorial, right? And what I said to the man in the interview, and it came to me in that moment, was that if you're going to do something for yourself and you're not in the best state or you're not as happy, keep doing it. Do it broken, but ensure that you're doing it for you. Do it sad. Do it as much as you can, but keep doing it for you. Yeah. I did my bachelor's degree, and I was like, I wouldn't say I was depressed doing my bachelor's degree, but I was suffering from extreme grief.
mm-hmm.
And I didn't know that I was suffering like that, but I would always get sad whenever I talk about my father. But yet I would tell persons that I'm healed from it, but I was still suffering inside, and I myself did not realize that I was suffering. But I did continue, and I have gotten the degree out of the way, and that was something that I always wanted to do for my father. So if you're doing something and you're not, and it's not the ideal situation, but you know what you want, do it broken. Ball your way through. God is there to help you. Jesus did weep, right?
Mm.
Jesus did weep. So do it. Do it sad, but keep on doing it.
Yeah, that's a powerful statement there. So, whatever it is that you have to get done, do it regardless. Do it afraid, do it sad, do it tired. Just ensure that you keep making small steps, because small steps are better than no steps, right?
Yeah.
All right, so thank you so much, Daniel, for coming on and sharing with us. It has been very good. And you said it's a little bit short. So, guys, if you want to see Daniel back on to hear some more wisdom from him, you can comment down below and we will definitely try to make it happen. All right. So, Daniel, God really bless you and keep you. And I'm very happy that you have grown past a lot of the inferiority and insecurities that you have, because you are a handsome man. And I'm not even going to say a handsome black man. You're a handsome man, right? We need to stop saying, oh, yes, we're taking out the black and
Yeah.
just saying it as
Yeah.
it is. All
Yeah.
right. So thank you so much, Daniel, for coming. And thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. Remember, if you haven't yet subscribed, to subscribe below, like, share, and comment down below, because I'm sure that you have a lot to say after all of this, and feel free to share your own experiences and how you have grown, having encountered, the different things to move from a place of feeling inferior to identifying who you are in Christ. God bless you, and we will see you all in the next episode. Have a great one.